Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.
This week, 2 more of these beta males decided to participate in horrific acts of violence. Now, the first of these beta males to participate in an act of violence was this white Coast Guard lieutenant who decided that he was going to plan a terror attack where he planned to kill almost every person that he saw. And this U.S. Coast Guard lieutenant, who proclaims to be a white nationalist, had been stockpiling weapons since 2017 to go out here and participate in this mass shooting that he was planning. And he had been reading pro-Russian, neo-fascist, and neo-Nazi literature for the last 2 years and taking numerous amounts of steroids. And he planned to go out here and participate in a mass shooting. And he stockpiled a list of people that he wanted to kill, such as Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and many other members of the Democratic Party. Now, when I take a look at his behavior from a critical perspective, I see the textbook behavior that I talked about in my book, The Man Crisis. Now, in my book, The Man Crisis, I talk about how these beta males, what they do when the world isn't working the way they want. What they do is they start making these fantastic plans to go out here and participate in these horrific acts of violence like mass shootings. Because if their world isn't going the way they want it to go, then they want to destroy the lives of all of the people around them. And this U.S. Coast Guard lieutenant, he was making plans to destroy the lives of others because things weren't going his way. And he didn't like what people were saying on the other side of the political spectrum. So this man decided he was going to go out here and murder those people who disagreed with his political views and had viewpoints and ideas and policies that went against his ideas. And the behaviors that he participated in clearly are fitting what I talked about in my book, The Man Crisis, regarding addiction and the man crisis, because when it comes down to a lot of these beta males out here, what they like to do as part of their addictive and compulsive behavior is they like to stockpile weapons. And the reason why they are stockpiling the weapons is because they have this delusion in their mind that they're going to go on this shooting spree, and some of them actually do go on this shooting spree, but many more, they want to stockpile this arsenal of weapons because they have this grand plan in their mind that they're going to go out here and go out on this killing spree, and this is what they believe they need all the weapons for. Now, in addition to stockpiling the weapons as part of his compulsive addiction, this man was also taking steroids, and the steroids also fits within the addiction part of the issue a lot of these beta males have, because when it comes down to this beta male, they have this addictive personality and they like to take drugs to escape their problems. And one of the things that a lot of these guys do, because they feel inadequate in themselves, is some of them do take steroids because they want to get their bodies to be bigger and stronger because they don't have any self-esteem, self-worth, or self-confidence. And that's why they go out here and take these steroids, because they want to have that bulked up body and they want to have those muscles to go out here and do all those things that they want to do. So that's one of the reasons why they go out here and take the steroids, and they go out here and do these things because they have these issues, and that's what they do. So when it comes down to these beta males, this is part of what they do in their addictive behavior, in addition to going out here and collecting the weapons, because it just doesn't make any logical sense in any normal person's mind to have an arsenal of 15 to 16 guns when you only have 2 hands. But in the eyes of the beta male, they believe that if they have all of these weapons, they can protect themselves. But the big problem is, who's going to protect us from the beta male? Because the big problem is with this beta male, he needs these weapons because he feels insecure inside of himself. He does not have any security and self-confidence, and that's why he has to have this whole array of weapons and ammunition around him, even though it's clear that he has a delusion regarding this whole thing about white nationalism and a delusion regarding this shooting rampage, because this beta male, like Stephen Paddock before him, he believes that if he has all of these weapons, he can go out here and again shoot up a bunch of people. But the thing is that they're not living in the real world, because again, you only have 2 hands and you cannot use all of the weapons in this so-called arsenal. But the reason why they have the arsenal again is because these males are extremely insecure and they are trying to overcompensate for the feelings of inadequacy they have inside themselves. And it's clear to me that this man was feeling extremely inadequate about his manhood, because that's why he was reading all of this neo-Nazi and fascist literature and talking about white nationalism, because he did not feel adequate and secure in his own manhood. And that's another problem with a lot of these beta males, is they don't feel secure and adequate in their manhood because they just don't have a good, solid foundation in their masculinity. Thank God this man was caught before he could go out here and participate in that act of terrorism and murder innocent people, because if this man had gone out here and actually implemented his plan, he could have severely harmed many innocent people, all because he disagreed with the political views and the things that he saw in the media. Now, the second beta male I saw today and heard about today was this man who decided to drive over a family of 8, and he killed a pregnant mother here in New York, all because a man asked him to stop smoking in front of his children. Now, this incident took place on Long Island, and it was in front of a 7-Eleven, and this Hispanic beta male got so enraged by a man telling him to stop smoking in front of his 6 or 7 children that he decided to get in his car and decided to run over that family. And as a result, the pregnant mother wound up dying in the whole incident. Now, this incident highlights another thing I detail in the man crisis regarding these beta males. Now, when it comes down to these beta males, these men are highly emotional, and in many of those cases, these men are ticking time bombs. So it doesn't take much to trigger these time bombs, and just like I talk about in the man crisis, this beta male is a landmine, and sadly in this case, this man stepped on this landmine, and as this human landmine wound up exploding in rage, he wound up getting in his car and then running over this family, all because he was asked to stop smoking a cigarette in front of his family. Now, this is another textbook example of a beta male exploding in rage, and how devastating the damage can be when these beta males explode in rage. Because when these beta males explode in rage, again, it's a spectrum of violent behaviors, and it can range from anything from a screaming fit to all the way to extreme behaviors like a man getting inside of his car and then using it as a weapon to run over innocent people, like in this incident. And in this incident, it was all because a man asked him to put out a cigarette, and that shows how little self-control a lot of these beta males have. Because an ordinary man who is asked to put out a cigarette, what he will do is, or stop smoking in front of people's children, is he will just walk away and go to another part of a store to go smoke his cigarette outside, or he will just put out the cigarette and move on. He will know how to navigate through his emotions without losing control over himself. But in the case of the beta male, because they have not been taught things like discipline, self-control, they wind up losing it and exploding in a rage where they participate in the spectrum of violent behaviors. And this man just decided, after being asked by another man, to just go out here and get in his car and run this family over. And I believe the reason why this man went in that car to run that family over is because he was confronted by male authority and a male authority figure, and that man was making a request of him like another man, and that's the thing that wound up upsetting this beta male. Because I believe if a woman were to ask him to not go out here and smoke that cigarette, I believe he would have complied with that woman. But because a man asked him, that's what caused him to lose his temper. Because a lot of these beta males, they have problems with men. They have problems with male authority. They have problems by being challenged by male authority figures. And they have problems when men come to ask them of a request to do something. That's where I see the problem with this beta male. I saw where he was upset at the idea of the audacity of another man challenging him, and that was the reason why he went to attack that family. And sadly, the mother in the family wound up losing her life as a result of this, and that's a sad, tragic thing. And all those children wound up getting injured, all because this man lacked discipline and self-control. And because he lacked discipline and self-control, the big problem was he just did not know how to deal with his emotions. He did not know how to deal with his feelings. And he just did not know how to deal with problems and how to conflict resolve in a constructive manner. So when I look at this beta male, I see an individual who, again, just had a problem with dealing with people, and he just did not have the, critical thinking skills, the ability to use logic and reason. And in both cases, they show me two more cases of these beta males who are part of this man crisis that's been going on here in America, a man crisis that is seemingly getting worse instead of getting better. And if we don't start to acknowledge the problems with this man crisis, we're going to see more and more of this violent behavior going on here in America. And what's scary is that this man crisis is something that no one is talking about, because when I look at America and I look at this man crisis, we're seeing more and more of these ticking time bombs, these human landmines going off all over the country, whether it be these, like that white nationalist who decided that he was going to stockpile all of these weapons, which is a part of the addiction part of the man crisis, or like in the case of this beta male who just ran over an entire family. All of these incidents come together to show a serious crisis going on with the way we have raised men in America over the last 50 years, because the way we have raised men here in America and the West has created this bumper crop of beta males, and none of these beta males knows how to function in society. And what's happening is we're seeing many more of these men just falling apart, malfunctioning, and exploding wherever they go. If you'd like to learn more about the issues that have led up to the man crisis that's going on here in America, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and e-readers. It's a book that will teach you about why so many men are falling apart here in America and why so many men are participating in violent and terroristic behaviors. And it's a book that will help you understand what's leading to so many men malfunctioning here in America. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.